afternoon there. I don't know what time it is because I didn't look, but I had to turn the truck off. I've got 3 pages of notes today to go through things. This is going to be the 5/4/2020 thoughts video for the week, and we go through this just because I travel around and I give people stuff to think about and explain what I've seen. And let me cover this up so everybody's not trying to figure out what's all in the background there, because it's probably clothes or movies or paper towels or I don't know, a Ziploc bag box or something. So there we go. But I got my notes with me because started out in Tulsa, went to Williston, North Carolina, unloaded, reloaded, all day. Cheap. We're talking 88 cents a mile. You figure out how a company's supposed to stay alive on that rate right there. From Williston to Houston, unloaded, reloaded, went and jumped in the shower because it's like 90 some odd degrees down here. Come out, got me my cool water here, which is frozen in the deal, and go through it. That way I can tell you things that I'd seen, which I've seen a lot of interesting things, like the vote no on weather modification in North Dakota deal. But let's start out here on, it says News Channel 6 KOTV, I think this would be Oklahoma City, it says phone study shows Oklahoma not doing well with social distancing. Oh, so here's what we're doing. We're taking your phone data, tracking your GPS, which Google does no problem, and we're telling everybody that, hey, most of your people's hanging out together. They're not doing what we want them to do. You know what? You don't have to do what they want to do, what you need to do what you want to do. With everything going on, if it makes you feel safer, wear gloves and a mask and everything else, go for it. I've done a bunch of studies on it. I can pull up 10 doctors, including one in California that is being forced out of the whole deal right now, that says wearing a mask will compromise your immune system because it puts your body into a stress state because you're not getting the oxygen that it needs, and then you're also breathing extra carbon monoxide. And a mask is not to protect you from getting something, it's to protect somebody from spreading it to you, by the way. Here's what it really made me mad. Kansas City, Missouri over there, they're trying to say, hey, if you want to go to a place of worship, you want to go to a church, you want to go to a temple, you want to do whatever, no problem, you can do that, except we want your name, address, phone number, and all your personal information so we can track you just in case somebody up here gets sick. No. Doubt it. Not happening with me. Oh yeah, Ward County, North Dakota. This one come off, I believe it was Channel 4 up there. Driving along down Highway 252 there, I believe it was, little 2-lane road, and all of a sudden I see a sign that just says vote no on weather modification. Well, what do we got going on up here? kept seeing it. So I looked it up. Sure enough, Ward County, North Dakota, in 56 years, the first time in 56 years. What they're doing is they usually sign a 5-year contract to what they say seed the clouds. That means we're going to go spray a bunch of chemicals up in the air, and we can't prove it really does anything, but we're going to tell you it creates better rain. It stops all the bad weather. You know, that way your crops and it don't tear your property up. I guess I got some people with some heads on their shoulders decided that we're not going to renew it in March this year. We're going to actually throw it on the June ballot. We're going to let the county decide if they want us to keep spraying this stuff in the air for weather modification. But if you go in there and read the article, it'll say cloud seeding or seed clouding, or to me, stuff they shouldn't be doing anyway. Nature will take care of nature. God's in charge of it. CNBC, okay, 6 oil firms, U.S. oil firms expected to shut down 300,000 barrels per day on oil. Vouch for that. People still getting laid off, getting sent home. Don't know if I remember if I told you or not. I think a really good friend of mine got laid off after they told him to shut his wells in on the guise of, hey, when it picks up, we'll call you back. On the same note of that one, it's later on in there. I was reading an article last night and seen a deal to where it said Chesapeake Exploration playing with the idea of filing bankruptcy. Okay, it's a big company. It's got stock invested over 22,000 plus wells and other stuff. You also, now don't get that confused with Chesapeake Utilities. It's 2 different subsidies there. go along with that one. But check it out. A year ago, their stock was about $400 a share. It's down to about 15 bucks. I don't think it's going to go out of business. I don't see why they would file bankruptcy. It's going to get real rough. That's an Oklahoma company. A lot of people's probably going to get laid off, and until we get to moving again and the cars get to driving up and down the road, which down here in Houston they are. Not my road rage, but road agitation started to show up today because I understand y'all had 2 months to sit at home or whatever, and you need to go back to driving school. Don't be cutting the big trucks off. We were flying through here at 65 mile an hour, not a problem. 3 of them within a bridge today about took my front end off, and I'm like, wow, we haven't even got back to whatever. But the whole I gotta beat you is still in everybody's ever-loving mind. Another thing is this goes and got this from a page, and she actually shared it on a deal that said make the state normal again. People getting emails about mail-in voting. Please call your congressman. No, you don't want to do that. Trust me, they got people voting. They found 19,000 people in Massachusetts one year. Still can't find them. They on welfare. They voted, but they can't find them, and they all live in this like little three-story building, I think it was. So yeah, no. If you're good enough to go out and stand in line to get you a gallon of milk, wear your mask, put your gloves on, whatever you got to do to feel safe, and go check the box. I mean, I at this point think there's more people trying to. It's like they threw all their cards in and said it's now or never. Here we go, because not only all this stuff's going on, but I've got some other stuff for you. The Oklahoma numbers, I rechecked them because I checked this morning. No new deaths in the last 2 days. None today. It's the same number as it was yesterday, which was 238. Recoveries are 2,672. New cases, or total cases, is going to be 4,044. We had an uptick in total active cases, which is 1,124. And please, do not be like, oh God, we got to shut her back down again. No, we don't. See, here's what everybody fails to realize. I'm going to throw 2 words out there. It's called herd immunity. Okay, right now they're testing people in California, and not in California, in New York, with all these, cases that went on in this block, and people in New York are stacked on each other. And they can go into a building and they'll find, 10% of this building's got COVID-19, but the other 90% has antibodies to it. That's herd immunity. Enough people get sick, your body will adapt, do what it's made to do, and create an antibody and fight it. So we should have started that from a long time ago. Now, you got secondary issues, totally understand, Sam. Got a daughter with one. Her husband, I think, goes a little overboard sometimes, but it's okay. He does it because he loves her. Let me see. Sources Friday. General Flynn's going to ask for his plea to be pulled back. That means he no longer wants to plead guilty. They found some new evidence, really interesting stuff. You can dig, you got to find it to get this information. You can't just listen to the MSMs, the mainstream media is there, and that includes Fox and everybody else, because they're not going to tell you everything. You have to, there'll be a little blip, or you see a little news bar. But if you watch this, I'll give you enough, just General Flynn, and you'll start pulling up. Just all you have to do is read the articles. They found some evidence showing that they kind of set him up on the deal, and it was an inside deal. So that's going to be interesting to see how that domino falls, and I think it's the first of many, but we'll see. This one actually kind of got me. Monster Asian hornets in Washington. They nickname them murder hornets. Seen these things and I'm like, okay. Called a buddy of mine that lives up in Washington State and said, whoever opened the Jumanji box, close it. We're done. Okay. There's enough stupidity going on right now. Please just Jumanji, get it over with. He's like, what are you talking about? So I told him, I said, well, it's breaking news that we've got these murder, quote unquote, that's their nickname, by the way, murder hornets that are found in the States. He's like, man, they've been up here for years. He says they found a nest years ago, and they've been trying to figure out how to get it going on. But evidently these things can get up to about 2 inches long. They'll get you through a bee suit, but don't worry, they're not out to get humans. They want your honeybees, though. And they've got some pinchers up there on the head that cut the head off the honeybee. They fly it back to their nest. They feed their young. And from what the research that I did said that about 30 to 40 of these murder hornets can wipe out a 30,000 colony beehive in hours. And you know, if a wasp is 2 inches big and it's as big as some of the pictures I've seen, I know they've got guards you can buy to put on there to help out with that. But suppose we come from Asia. If you read the articles, they tell you that it jumped a ship, got in a wood crate, come over, made it that way. I know how the shipping works on that. Yeah, okay. All right, here we go. Trump signed executive order on keeping meat plants open. I believe that's about 4 days ago now. Now, the reason that he did that was Smithfield Farms wanted to shut down some more meat plants. Because, oh, well, we got this guy that's sick, so let's just shut the whole thing down. All right, so let's dig into Smithfield there for a little bit. Pork producer, Records Farm, stuff like that. Oh, but it's owned by a Chinese conglomerate. Not going to feed that theory, but it's kind of interesting. They've shut down 5 of them. Trump signed an executive order under the Defense Production Act, which means no, fire it back up, get it going. We need this food. And people don't understand on how well we need this food, but according to the Wall Street Journal, 20% of pig production has stopped, done. So that means if you eat any pig, cut your bacon out right now. Done. It's going to be $30 a pound. Not good. You know, 20%. USDA actually went to some plants and said, hey, we need to kill 13,000 hogs a day. You can look this, by the way, this information I'm giving you, Twitter, Army Times. One is look up the House Ag Chair in Minnesota and some of the representatives up there. All their Twitter feeds are crazy with it. The Wall Street Journal. There's another one, KONO News. They'll show that orchards are reporting, some orchards, not all orchards, some orchards are reporting that half their workers got COVID-19 and we had to shut down. But it gets really interesting because a House Ag chairman in Minnesota says, oh, he's tried to talk to JBS, which is a meat plant. They slaughter and produce and package it and all that. Tried to open them up, talk to them to kill 13,000 hogs a day. Not produce them, not finish them, just kill them. Walk into the truck, kill them. That truck pulls out, another one backs in, they do it again. Up to 13,000 times a day. Just in time delivery, which everybody uses, they've decided that's not working. No, it's never worked because grocery stores have 3 days worth of food, and when they say, and the USDA comes up to Texas farmers and beef farmers and pig farmers and say, hey, by the way, logistics is why we can't get your stuff done. I'm in logistics. Trust me, I could show you truck place after truck place after truck place. They're just sitting, waiting for something to do. These plants fire back up, they'll be more than happy to get their butts in that seat and go down the road, because I know a lot of drivers, we don't like sitting around. It's not our forte. Brings me back to another deal. A lot of people sitting there starting to open back up. They're having a hard time getting people to come to work. Why? We got $600 a week. Why should we go back to work? We're making more money now than we were at work. Take your butt back to work. It ain't good to sit there, and it's a very minuscule plan that you're just falling into and you just don't realize it yet. It says The Hill, Tyson's Food Supply. Full page dads on this one, by the way. Tyson Food supply chain is broken. Again, let's blame the guys hauling the stuff. There ain't nothing to haul, trust me. We want to haul it. That's how we make our money. If the wheels ain't turning, we ain't earning. Here's I thought this one was interesting. Pentagon, Department of Defense introduces AI, artificial intelligence, into the shopping retail business. So they can tell when you buy, how you buy it, what you bought it with, what you bought it for, where you're at, down to the zip code. And the reason they can do this is because if it ever got down to global rationing, which a UN deal says, hey, we need to do that, by the way. We need to start rationing globally. So we don't think y'all need as much food because, you know, whatever, this poor area over here, or guess what, this zip code is a small area. We're not going to give anything to this. We're going to give it to this zip code. So then everybody migrates, so it gets you out of your other area or your small town to go buy the food, because they found out that we were doing just fine, and there's people out there that don't want you to do fine. And that's part of the reason why we started this channel. You need to grow, hunt, fish, raise chickens, rabbits, anything you can get your hands on. A tomato plant today is better than nothing yesterday. It goes along the whole deal. If you teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. But if you give a man a fish, he'll eat today. So that's why we put out weekly thought videos, is tell you what's going on out there that I feel the MSM is missing, and we need to go on. You got to crawl before you walk. You got to walk before you run. Eventually, as time goes on and this channel grows, we'll get into the pew things and very other interesting things from there that goes on with it, like how to do your own ice packs. I carry a go bag with me. It's got little neat stuff in it, and the reason that I also do that is to get into some of these is we're going to share a few things. Proverbs 24:27, if you read the Bible, it says, prepare your work outside and make it ready for yourself in the field. Afterward, it means after that's done, then build your house. In other words, get your food taken care of, then worry about covering your roof. Rule of 3, trust me: water, food, shelter, weather. Another one, air, people don't think about. Basically, to cut back to the AI deal, that's under Defense 1, by the way. There's another one. Proverbs 6 verse 6 through 8 says, go to the ant, O sluggard, consider her ways, and be wise. Without any chief, officer, or ruler, she prepares her bread in summer and gathers her food in harvest. It's Bible verses and me telling us that, hey, get ready. Get out there and grow your food. Take care of yourself. You can't depend on these guys that you think's going to take care of you, because back in the 40s, there was another group of people across a big pond that told people, hey, just get on this train, it's for your safety. And that was kind of the end of that for them. But history, we'll get there real quick. But it's a sad thing. It upsets me that so many people's gone on. It's kind of like Abraham Lincoln said that philosophy in the schoolhouse is going to be the philosophy of the leaders in the next generation. Well, we need to change the philosophy of our country and get it back to godly things, biblical things. People don't understand that the Declaration of Independence was written about 27 things in the Bible that this country was founded on. Another thing that goes on is they don't teach history in school. Right now we got people that says, oh, you don't need seeds, you don't need a garden. That is not your thing, and they're not letting you buy it, and they're up there protesting, and they're doing their thing, and I wish them best of luck, and I hope they vote her out. I would love to see Tulsa and Oklahoma City and Norman vote them mayors out. They're overreaching their bans, their steps, and they're really trampling on your constitutional rights, telling you, oh, you can't do that. But it's kind of like a big experiment. You set the rat in a cage and see if the rat will sit there and follow it down to wherever it goes, or if it'll actually, try to figure its own way out. Chickens are cheap. They're not quiet. They'll lay an egg every day. Remember, protein. 1 egg a day provides you with enough protein that you need for that day. You need something quieter. Get you two doe rabbits and a buck. That'll feed you a long time, every 28 days. Rabbit don't have a whole lot of fat on it. That's what you really need, but meat, substance-wise, that and some vegetables goes a long way. Garden, very simple. Plant some seeds. By the way, I would suggest non-GMO seeds. GMO seeds will not reproduce after itself, and I believe Jesus cursed the fig tree because it didn't have any fruit on it. Withered up and died, by the way. So, that's things that we got going on. Other than that, I'm happy to be back up and down the road. Maybe I can make a little money and start paying the bills. Like I said, I wasn't worried about the food thing going on. Getting ready to head back towards the house. Wasn't there last weekend because I come down, of course, it's Monday. And so I've been gone officially a week. Get back in there and get some things straightened up. Check on the weeds and get things going to make sure they keep being successful. I got to change some strings up on my trellis deal. That's going to be interesting. We'll put that on a tape. I got to sit there and get some ground cloth and some cedar chips down. Got some mushroom spores I want to throw out and see if they'll actually take off for next year. Hopefully they will. But again, I appreciate y'all. Like, subscribe, share. It's up to y'all. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Again, stay vigilant. Be safe.